Since David gave me a go-ahead, I'm going to share a story, a personal, it's an anecdote, right? But my son, 5th grade, had some friends spend the night. They're up at the breakfast table the next morning, they're talking, and I'm in reading the paper, and I'm kind of half keeping an ear on what they're talking about, and most of it is nothing that I have any interest in, but in any case, I don't remember how it got started, but all of a sudden I realized what they're talking about is creation and how everything got to be here, etc. So they start talking about what they'd learned in Sunday school, which what they learned, I'm listening, wasn't so much anti-evolution, but the Sunday schools didn't talk about how God created or anything else. They introduced the idea that God created and etc. And the schools don't typically offer any scientific information to go along with that. So if you've ever heard of the concept of constructivism, and people construct their own understandings, and it's, I guess as a teacher I kind of had this attitude after I heard about this, that really when a kid studied a particular unit and failed the test, a lot of times it wasn't that he didn't learn anything, it just learned it wrong. But once they learn things, they've constructed it into an understanding, and then they see the world from their constructed understanding. So if they only construct an understanding that is limited to the role of God, but doesn't explain the natural consequences that may have happened, or whether, or even whether there is a God, but the point is that they're only getting one point of view. And so we have to begin to look at how to put age-appropriate evolutionary education and start giving kids science information that if they come from a religious tradition, that they can meld the two together instead of having it just sit over here unexplained, having them construct their own understanding. And when they get to science class, they think they need to reject science. So that's my answer to why we need to teach evolutionary theory. We don't have to teach them natural selection and and genetic drift to 5th graders. We just have
wait until they're 6th grade.
Until they're mature. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
and it goes beyond evolution too. I mean, I think we have to inculcate. I don't know if that's a threatening word to some people or not. A proper scientific attitude in terms of testing and that sort of thing, and that can begin at a fairly young age.
So I'm going to throw this out to all of you. But why is evolution an issue in the U.S. when most other Western democracies don't view it as such?
There was a survey, Jeannie Scott, who I had up before, and a couple of other co-authors wrote a paper in Science in 2006, looking at surveys from 35 different industrialized nations. And the United States, in terms of acceptance of evolution, of human evolution in particular, and the United States came in 34 out of 35 ahead of Turkey. And the United States and Turkey share actually a lot of sort of cultural similarities. There's an official secularism. There's no state church. And that's been defended pretty aggressively in Turkey with tolerable success. And it's also sort of the religious tradition and the cultural background is of creationism in the United States came out of the late 19th century. It's a relatively modern thing. It's a reaction against the modern technological age and an attempt to sort of seize control of that. And the same way you've got Turkey at the cusp of Europe. Is it going to join the EU? Is it not going to join the EU? A lot of people are moving from Turkey into Europe proper and are becoming westernized. So it's an attempt to control that process. And creationism is part of that, of sort of taking these Western notions, taking modern notions in the late 19th century and making them their own. Making it into sort of creationism is an evangelical form of evolution, right? It's making their religion sciencey enough to stand up to this modern world. So that's I think the similarity that I see there. I don't know whether it speaks. So that's the cultural similarity. That's I think what drives it. I don't know what that says about other Western nations necessarily, but
one factor is the United States is really high level of religiosity. people say they're religious in much higher numbers in this country than any European country. And just being religious is one of the core ones. That's not a sufficient answer, but that's one of the things that supports it.
I made my little joke about the Cato Institute, anyway, somebody wanted to know, are there other libertarian think tanks besides the Cato Institute?
500 or so. I'm serious, 500 or 600.
All right, so email him.
I don't have a list. And I do know that the number is of that nature.
All right, this